everybody, it's Nell. Welcome back to my channel. This is Little Yellow House Crafts. My name is Nell, and this is a video that you've been patiently waiting for. Welcome to all those who are joining me live, and if you are just catching up later, welcome anyway. I want to thank those of you who are subscribed to me, as well as those who leave comments and likes, and I appreciate your support. Thank you all for being patient. This video probably should have been done a week and a half ago, but life is just very busy and it got away from me. But I am doing my giveaway drawing. Hey Nell, I finally got you live. Hey Michelle, Bendy Stitchy Michelle Garrett, welcome to a live video. Yes, you're here. So this is going to be my giveaway drawing. We will do that at the end. This was for my July 4th giveaway. Closed on July 4th, and so we'll do that at the end, but I wanted to give you guys a little update. If you are a member of Stitch Mania, hello, then you may have seen my post about a week and a half ago. I had a conference this past weekend in Tulsa for work. Many of you know I am a Senegence distributor. Senegence is the manufacturer of Lip Sense, so if you've heard of Lip Sense. And we had a big social media and marketing conference in Tulsa, Oklahoma this past weekend. It was an amazing conference. I loved it. I had such a blast. But from a very hot and humid SoCal, I bet we've got you beat on humidity. Greetings from Russia. Hi, Anna. I know your name is Anna, but I can't pronounce your last name because I don't know the Cyrillic alphabet. From Moscow. Wow, we've got some Russian stitchers. Welcome, everyone. Anyway, so I was in Tulsa this weekend. Hungry. Wow. This is so fun. I love it. So I was in Tulsa this weekend, and I posted in Stitch Mania asking about some LNSs that might be in Tulsa. And lo and behold, the Silver Needle is in Tulsa, which is a very well-known cross-stitch shop. So you better believe I made a trip. And I just want to briefly tell you about my experience there. I did do a little shopping, which I will be sharing in a moment. Distracted Stitcher, hello and welcome. It was a lovely shop. When I was there, it was very, very busy. This past weekend, the Silver Needle had a stitching retreat. And so the retreat actually started on Friday, but of course Thursday everyone was arriving and they were coming into the shop to do some shopping and to visit, and I think get their retreat kit for things they were going to be stitching at the retreat. Some Russians can't do it properly. Okay, that makes me feel better. I do know your name is Anna, though. And so it was very, very busy. But it kind of was fun because it was great to be in a room with so many stitchers. Sometimes we feel like we're the only ones who stitch, at least locally. I mean, we have this great online community, which is wonderful, but especially, you know, for me, and I think for a lot of people, we don't really know a lot of people who stitch. And so it was so fun to be in the store with tons of people who also stitch and who were just as excited about all of the things as I was. As far as the shop is concerned, the Silver Needle is amazing. There was one comment on the Stitch Mania thread about someone who did not have a good experience and was not impressed with the Silver Needle selection. I have to say I disagree. The Silver Needle had a huge selection of cross-stitch charts. The one thing I did not see a lot of were mirabilias and lavender and laces. So if that's kind of your taste, then yeah, definitely did not have a lot of those. However, almost every other designer that I can think of, they had a very good selection. A lot of the kind of more primitive companies, so I'm thinking here of like Blackbird Designs, Sampler Company. Oh gosh, I'm not even going to be able to name them all because you guys know them better than I do. Huge selections of those. Little House Needleworks and Country Cottage Needleworks had a good selection. Huge wall of Mill Hills. And guys, they have a shop model of almost every Mill Hill kit I've ever seen. And they have them all hanging on a giant wall. And so each peg has a different kit hanging on it. And at the front of the peg is their shop model. So they have hundreds of shop models of Mill Hills, and the store itself is just packed to the rafters with shop models of almost every almost every designer and pattern you can think of. It was so much fun to wander around in there. I could have spent 5 hours in there. Hello, welcome those of you who are just joining me live. I could have spent hours. As it was, I probably spent about an hour and a half, and I made a circuit of the whole store about 3 times. I did my first preliminary circuit, took my time, started thinking about what I might want to buy, and then I went through a second time, and then a third time before I finally narrowed it down. But if you live near Tulsa, Oklahoma, you are a lucky, lucky stitcher, because that store was just wonderful. I will say the customer service that I received was great. They were very, very busy. I think they had just about every employee they've got working the store that day because it was so packed. But everyone was very polite, very welcoming, very helpful, even though they were busy. There was no one manning the cutting table for fabric because they were so busy, but whenever there was someone who wanted fabric cut, they would come over and assist them. I did not purchase any fabric while I was there, but there's been some people have had good experiences, some people have had not so good experiences with customer service. I could say that my experience was wonderful, and I will definitely go back. My company has a lot of conferences in Tulsa, so I will definitely be going back to the Silver Needle. So that was a blast, and I loved it. I very rarely get to go to LNS's, so that was super fun. Let's see. Do I want to do my whip update first, or do I want to do my haul first, since I was just talking about the Silver Needle? First person to comment of what they want first. Do you want a whip update, or do you want to see what I purchased? Ready, go. I'm waiting. First comment on what they want to see is what I will do. This is the fun of a live video. And yes, haul. All right, Jody, whipped. Jody was first. She asked for haul, so we'll do that first. And then we'll go to my whip updates. You guys are so funny. Okay, so my haul is in 2 parts. There were some things that I purchased before I left town off of Stash Unload, and there were just 3 Little House Needleworks charts that I purchased on Stash Unload, so I'll show you those quickly. The first one is My Sheep. Thought that was really beautiful. Next one is Hillside Travelers, and I'm going to turn it on its side so you can see what it looks like. That's Hillside Travelers. I thought that was really pretty. And then the third one, you guys have seen this before, is Acorn Hill. So I got those on Stash Unload before I left. So those were not from the Silver Needle. The rest of my haul is from the Silver Needle. Here's my bag of goodies. I didn't go too crazy, because you could go crazy in that shop. Here's my receipt. You could go crazy in there. I did not. I tried to kind of rein it in. But the things that I picked up, the first thing is not necessarily that exciting. I've been slowly collecting the Early Americans by Little House Needleworks, and I didn't have the 4th one that just came out, Nathan Hale. So I picked that up while I was in there. And then the other 2 are the ones that I just saw and decided to get. Hi, Abby, welcome. So the first one is a Brenda Keys design from the Sampler Company. And this piece, I've never seen anyone show this on FlossTube before. Either I've missed it or just no one's done it yet. But I saw this in the stack of all of their Sampler Company designs, and I just loved it. You guys know I'm a history buff. This is not American history, but it is British history. And I do have ancestry from Great Britain, as most Americans who came over early in the history of the United States do. And so this is Brenda Keys' Over the Hills sampler. And I'm going to bring it up close. This is a sampler of the Napoleonic Wars. Hi, Kathy Morrison, welcome. This is a sampler of the Napoleonic Wars. So this was a war between England and France when Napoleon was making his way across Europe and conquering, and England kind of stepped in to fight them. And if you are a fan of things like the Horatio Hornblower books or the TV movies, the miniseries with Ioan Gruffudd, if you like the Horatio Hornblower series, then that's the time period that this is from in the 1700s. And it says on the sampler, King George commands and we obey, over the hills and far away. Virtutis fortuna comis, which is Latin, which was apparently Lord Wellington, who was the great general of the British Army during the Napoleonic Wars, the Duke of Wellington. His saying, his kind of motto was "Fortune favors the brave." So if you've heard that quote before, that comes from Lord Wellington, and that's what that means in Latin. Virtutis fortuna comis, or comis. It's Latin, so you pronounce it differently. But anyway, so that is the Over the Hill sampler, and I just loved that. I thought it was so pretty. It totally fits in my wheelhouse of things I like. It's colorful, it's bright, it's got a historical flair. It's not primitive, but it has kind of an old timey feel to it, and I don't know, I just saw it and immediately thought, okay, that's coming home with me. Nice thing is too, I'm not going to show you the back because there's charts showing, but it is charted for all DMC. Woo woo! So don't need to buy any specialty threads. This example was stitched 1/1 on, I believe, 28 count. And so I think I am going to stitch it 1/1, but maybe on 25 count. We'll see. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to stitch it on. And I'll probably just stitch it on white as they did here. I love how bright and colorful it is. And I rarely want to stitch on white, but this is one of those times where I feel like it would be appropriate. So that's the Over the Hill sampler by Brenda Keys from the Sampler Company. That was the second chart I bought after Nathan Hale. And then the third and final chart I bought, although I bought other things too. The last chart is a sampler. You guys know I've kind of been getting intrigued with samplers recently, and this is a sampler by Barbara Anna Designs. It is not a reproduction sampler, however it is designed to sort of look like it might be a reproduction sampler, and this is one that I'm pretty sure Stephanie at Lindy Stitches has mentioned. Either she's stitching this or she loves it and was talking about it, but this is the Snooty Parrot sampler. That's actually what it's called, Snooty Parrot sampler, and that's what it looks like. It's so cute. The snooty parrots. Look at how funny they are. They're snooty, I think, because they have crowns on their heads, and they're very... Let it go. No worries, Claudia. Catch you later. I just love it. The Snooty Parrot sampler. And you guys know I've kind of been getting intrigued with doing some more kind of... traditional stitching, and so I went ahead and bought this, and it is stitched on 40 count. The design, it is charted to be stitched on 40 count, 1/2, and so you guys know I'm kind of having a thing about stitching 1/2 on 40 count, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that is the Snooty Parrot sampler, and while I was there, the last thing I bought was I bought the threads for it. It is charted. The Snooty Parrot sampler, I'm going to get rid of this bag. The Snooty Parrot sampler is charted to be stitched in all Gentle Art sampler threads. McKenna, late to the party. Please start over. Catch up later. I bought all the Gentle Arts. So these are the sampler threads that are called for in the Snooty Parrot sampler. Lots of pinks, greens, neutrals, golds. It's very colorful, very pretty. And so that goes with the Snooty Parrot sampler. So while I was at the Silver Needle, I went ahead and bought the Gentle Arts that I needed, that I did not have. I do have some of them, and I didn't buy those, but the ones I didn't have, I went ahead and bought. So that was my haul from the Silver Needle. I loved it. It was so fun. I love that sampler. I know, isn't it so cute? So I don't know when I'm gonna start those. The Early Americans I'm still collecting, and I do plan on stitching those using Vana, the Twisted Stitcher's border chart that she so graciously made available to us. If you haven't seen it, you need to go over to either her blog, The Twisted Stitcher, or watch her YouTube videos, and she talks about this. She is stitching the Early Americans all on one piece, and she charted a border design that is just beautiful and perfect, and she has so generously and graciously made that available for free for anybody who wants it on her website. So I don't know when I'm going to start those, but I do have the first 4, and then as far as the Over the Hill sampler and the Snooty Parrots, I don't know. I've got a lot of stuff I want to stitch, and I'm trying not to have a lot of new starts right now because you guys know I have about 18 whips on the go, and I'd really like to get at least some more serious work done on lots of those before I start something new. But So that's my haul. I do have a little bit more to show you at the end that was actually a RAK. And if you don't know what a RAK is, it's a random act of kindness. Someone sent me a gift, and I'll show that at the end. But first, let's get to whips, because I know some of you want to see a whip update. So I've only really worked on 3 things since I saw you last. And they're still on the Q-snaps, so you're just gonna have to bear with me. The first one is my Country Cottage Needleworks Cottages of the Month. Last time you saw this, I had finished January and February and had just had a tiny little start on the top border of March, and so I continued working on March. Hi, Carolina. So this is March, and you can see I've gotten more done on it. Right now I'm in the process of filling in the white that goes around each of the windows. You can see there. So that's the first thing, decent amount of progress. I think this was maybe 2 to 3 nights of stitching. I had only gotten like a little tiny bit of the top border done. What McKenna said. Sorry, Betty. You guys can totally come back and watch again afterwards. So that was the first thing I worked on, and I am stitching that on 28 count flax linen by Zweigart, and I'm stitching it with all of the recommended threads. So it's a mixture of overdyed cottons, either Weeks or Gentle Arts or Classic Colorworks. They use all of them for different months, and then DMC. So that is what I'm stitching that on, and I'm doing all 12 on a giant one. I'm doing 3 across and 4 down. So it's gonna be giant. It's stitched on a fat half of 28 count because it's a big project. Because you guys know me, if it's not a big project, then I don't do it. Because go big or go home, right? The next one I worked on is I continued working on my Little Sheep Virtues set that I've been doing. And again, I am following a design that was shared by Pat Carson in one of the Facebook groups. And I've shown it before, so I'm not going to show it again, but she arranged them, and she's not the first one. I think a lot of people have done it. She's arranged them in such a way that they all go on one big piece, and it's just really cute. Last time you saw it, I had the first 4 done. So I did the 5th one, which was Faith. The last one you saw finished was Courage with the purple. Ugh. So I finished Faith, which is the whole top row. There are 5 across on that top row, and the top row is done. And then I went down and I started work on the 6th one in the 2nd row. And the 2nd row actually only has 2 Little Sheep Virtues. It has one on this side and one on this side. And in the middle will be Sheep in the Meadow by Country Cottage Needleworks. And then there'll be another row of 5 at the bottom. So that's how it arranges. And I stopped working on this because I ran out of this color of DMC. I think I'm using 3011 3011 for my border, and I ran out of it, and it was like one of the few colors I did not have a backup of. So I got kind of frustrated and had to stop and work on something else because I was out of that color. But I have since purchased more 3011, and I will continue working on that. Yeah, I'm not quite halfway done yet with that one, but they're coming along pretty quick. I mean, each of those Little Sheep Virtues is, they're not huge, and I can stitch them up in about 2 nights if I get a good couple of hours each night. So coming along. The last thing I worked on, Hugger and Hollow. I was on a roll with this when I finished the border, and the top border piece that you saw last time, and I did not want to put it away because I was feeling so inspired. So I started the first block, and there's hanging threads here. Hold on. And whew, this was a lot of work. This probably took me 5 or 6 days to stitch, and I got a little burned out because it was a lot of bricks. I finished the house. Guys, oops. Don't want to lose my needle. That's a lot of stitching. This is 40 count, 1/2. Those stitches are tiny, and guys, look at how many stitches there are. That took me like 5 days. I think it looks amazing, and I love that little house. The 40 count. I couldn't even see it with my magnifier. I know, it is small, and it's weird. After working for a couple days on my 40 count, I go back to something bigger, like my Country Cottage Needleworks Cottages of the Month, which is on 28 count, and I feel like it's giant. Holy cow, these X's are enormous. It's just funny. You get used to stitching on one size, and then changing sizes feels weird. But anyway, so that is the house of the first block. Let me show you what the first block looks like. Picture does not look as good as the actual thing, of course, they never do, but this is the first block. And so I've made pretty good progress. I mean, that house is like 75% of the block. So the rest of the block shouldn't take too long, and it says the skies are low, the winds are slow. So anyway, that's the third and final thing I've worked on in the last few weeks. I am probably, I don't know if I'm gonna put these 3 away and pull a few other things out. I haven't decided yet. I haven't stitched in about a week because I was at my conference, and I've also been working on a costume for someone here in our town, and so I've been sewing, like making a dress, and so I haven't had a lot of cross-stitching time in the last week, and so I'm kind of not sure I'm ready to put those away. I might want to do a little bit more on all 3 of those before I put them away. Sorry. There. Got an eyelash in my eye. Adventures in live video. So yeah, there's my whip update. That is my haul from the Silver Needle. Let's talk really quickly about a very kind and generous RAK that was sent to me, and I'll show you what she sent before we do the drawing for the giveaway. So thanks for hanging tight if you've been waiting for the giveaway. Sorry, I'm just gonna pull up my messenger because I want to make sure that I get her name right. So hold that thought. Hold on. I can't remember if this is like... No, I'm going too far down. Hold on. Sorry, guys. So I can start telling you the story. So this sweet, sweet lady, oh, for goodness sake, Nell. I can't find it. I'm gonna go get the package because I wanna properly thank her. And I asked her permission to share her name, and she said yes, so I wanna do it. So don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. Guys, I need to be more prepared. Sorry about that. So this sweet lady, in the last video I did, I talked about how I was looking at my Plum Street sampler, Liberty's Welcome, okay? I've had this in my stash for a while. And I was talking about how I was enjoying my Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow so much that I kind of wanted to stitch my Liberty's Welcome piece on 40 count, 1/2, like that piece is done, which was my first time working on 40 count, and I was loving it. And I also wanted to stitch it in the NPI silks that it calls for because I was enjoying the NPI silks so much. And I asked for your recommendations on what fabric to get. I wasn't sure what kind of fabric I wanted because there was a couple of things that some criteria it needed to meet. It needed to be a light neutral because I love how bright and happy and light the model is, but it needed to not lose the white stitching. There is some white stitching, there's some little sheep, and there's the head of the bald eagle here, and there's a very light gray in the house, and so I didn't want those colors to get lost. So it couldn't be white, and I also wanted it to be a little bit vintagey looking. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of a ton of modeling, but a light modeling to look like a parchment or like it's old or antique is fine. And I really just didn't know what kind of fabric I was looking for. And you guys gave lots of great suggestions. Well, a couple of days after that video, this woman, her name is Mary. Let me make sure. Melanie, excuse me. Melanie, not Mary. Melanie from the UK sent me a message through Facebook and said, "Hi, you don't know me at all, but I watch your videos, and I was watching your video recently and you were talking about how you wanted a 40 count. She said, I have a big stack, this woman, I have a big stack of 40 count linen that I bought and I don't use, and I don't know if it's because of, you know, it's too small in her eyesight, or if she's just decided she doesn't prefer stitching on 40 count. She said, I have this big stack that I just don't think I'm ever going to use. Would it be all right with you if I sent you a few pieces of 40 count linen that you might want to use for your Plum Street sampler piece?" And I was like, yes, I would be honored and grateful, and oh my word, are you sure? Like, guys, stitchers, it's been said before, but it needs to be said again. Stitchers are the kindest, most generous people. And she said, yeah, I'll go through and I'll, what kind of colors are you looking for? So I told her, again, I was, hoping for a light neutral, maybe with, a little bit of modeling, but nothing too crazy, something that looks kind of antique. She's like, oh yeah, I'll go through, I'll pick a couple pieces out and send them to you, and you can decide which one you want to use. Guys, so I got this lovely package, I'll hold it back here so you can't see the dresses, all the way from the UK. And she sent me a lovely little note that's just for me, so I'm not going to read it. But Melanie, she sent me 3 pieces of linen. All of them are from Lakeside Linens. They're all fat quarters, and they're all 40 count. This is so generous. Guys, this is not inexpensive linen. 40 count Lakeside linen, it's not inexpensive, and they're fat quarters. They're not tiny pieces. Melanie, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. This was so generous of you. So she sent me 3 different ones, and so that I can pick which one I want to use. The first one she sent, we'll start with this one, is vintage pecan butter or pecan butter, depending on where you're from. So that's pretty good. It's kind of a light taupey neutral, and it is the vintage fabric from Lakeside Linens, so you can see it has some very light kind of modeling. It just looks very antique. I love the vintage fabrics from Lakeside Linens. They are perfect for me. You guys know I can't stand a lot of intense shading and modeling, and they are just perfect. They look nice and antique without being too crazy. So that was the first one she sent me. It was vintage pecan butter. The next one has a slightly, I'm trying to look. It's slightly less yellow than the pecan butter and almost has a tiny bit of like a gray green undercast, which is lentil, the color lentil. So, I mean, they're similar, but they are different. You can see pecan butter's got a little more yellowy brown and it has the modeling. Lentil's got kind of almost a gray green cast and it does not have the modeling. It's not a vintage one. So that's another fat quarter of 40 count linen in the color lentil. And then the third one she sent me is darker than the other 2 and has more of a yellowy green cast, and that is Meadow Rue. So I'll hold that up to the vintage pecan butter, and you can see it's darker and it's got a little bit more yellowy green. So that's Meadow Rue 40 count. She sent me 3 fat quarters of 40 count fabric from Lakeside Linens. That's like, it's not all about money, but guys, this is like $100 plus worth of linen that she just out of the goodness of her heart sent to me all the way from the UK because she knew I was looking for the perfect 40 count. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have decided, I believe, I may change my mind again. I was kind of vacillating between the lentil and the vintage pecan butter for this piece, and I think I have decided to go with the vintage pecan butter. I like that it's just a little bit deeper than the lentil, and I do like kind of the vintagey aspect of it, so that is what I believe I will be stitching Liberty's Welcome on. Now, I have not yet purchased the NPI silks for this piece yet, and I'm going to hold off making that my final decision until I have purchased them and I can do a little floss toss and check how the threads look against this fabric. But I'm fairly certain this is the one I'm going to use for Liberty's Welcome. So thank you, Melanie. And since she sent me 3 and I have these other 2, I just bought the Snooty Parrot sampler, which is also meant to be stitched 1/2 on 40 count. Perfect. Hi, Nell from New Zealand. Welcome. And so I pulled out my threads. Ooh. I pulled out my threads that I purchased while I was at Silver Needle, and I think I'm going to stitch Snooty Parrot sampler on the Meadow Rue. I just think it's really pretty. I love how the golds look against it and the greens in particular. You can see it was stitched on a little bit deeper of a neutral, and so I think the Meadow Rue is perfect. I think that'll look really, really nice. So I didn't even need to buy fabric for my new Snooty Parrot sampler because Melanie was so kind and sent me 3. I'm gonna hold on to lentil and keep that in my stash. I don't know when I'm next gonna wanna stitch I love catching your videos live. Thank you, I'm so glad. I don't know when I'm gonna next have a project that I'm gonna want to stitch on 40 count, but thanks to Melanie, I'm set for now, and I'm just really, really grateful. So again, thank you, Melanie, and thanks for being so generous, and I just love cross stitchers. Okay, we're done now. So it's time for the giveaway drawing. Woohoo! Thank you all who entered. Quick reminder. So a couple of videos ago, I announced that I was doing my 2,000 subscriber giveaway, which is kind of funny because I think now we're pushing 2,300. But at the time, I had just hit 2,000. And I wanted to do a giveaway thanking all of you subscribers for sticking with me. And so I talked about how July the 4th was my favorite holiday in that video. And so to enter, I asked you to, in the comments, tell me what your favorite holiday was and why. And I had 256 entries. And I went through and wrote them all down by hand. It took forever. And I also wrote down what your favorite holidays were, and I thought I would do a little kind of data for those of you who are interested in this sort of thing. So of the 256 people who entered, 106 of them said that their favorite holiday was Christmas. Christmas was the #1 choice, and I don't think that should surprise anyone. People love Christmas. And so just for your information, that was roughly 41% of the entries said Christmas was their favorite, almost half, which is impressive when you think about it. The next most popular holiday, according to those who entered my giveaway, was actually, and this surprised me, I thought it would be Halloween. It wasn't. It was actually Thanksgiving. 20% of people said Thanksgiving was their favorite holiday, which was 52 people. And the #1 reason why is they loved the family, the food, and the fact that it wasn't as commercialized as Christmas and Halloween are. They loved that sandwiched in between those two big kind of commercial holidays was a holiday that was just all about being grateful and having friends and family near and eating good food. So Thanksgiving was the second most popular with 20%. The third most popular was Halloween with 12%. 30 people put Halloween as their favorite, so about 12% of the entries. And the fourth most popular was July the 4th, which is my favorite, which was about 9% of people, or 22 people put July 4th. The remaining 18% of people, because that takes us to 82%, the remaining 18% were all sorts of different things. Easter was listed a few times, and it was really sweet. For most people who put Easter, it was for religious reasons. People who thought Easter was their favorite holiday because of religious things and what it meant to them spiritually and having to do with their faith. Some people put things that were like Veterans Day because they had family members who had served in the armed forces, and that was important to them, as well as like Memorial Day. A lot of people put we had a couple, I think 3 or 4, put their birthday was their favorite holiday and that they always take that day off from work every year. And then we had some really interesting international ones. A few of our Russian subscribers listed something called the Day of Knowledge, which is apparently on September 1st, and one of our Russian watchers is going to have to explain to us what exactly that is. There were several in Australia who put things like there was like a day that was the founding of Western Australia, or Anzac Day in Australia, which I believe is their version of Veterans Day. There were also some UK stitchers who put bank holiday Mondays as their favorite holiday. If you don't know, the UK has kind of national holidays every couple of months. They'll have a bank holiday weekend, which is essentially a long weekend. And there were certain people who put specific ones that they always get together with friends and family on a certain bank holiday weekend. We had a couple stitchers from Sweden who put Midsummer down, which sounds amazing. Midsummer sounds like a cross between like May Day and the 4th of July. It happens in the middle of summer, and it's a celebration of midsummer, and they have like a maypole type thing that they dance around, and they eat tons of food and hang out, and it's a giant big party. And that just sounds like fun. I need to go to Sweden and celebrate midsummer. But anyway, it was really fun. We did have a few stitchers who are Jewish who put some of the Jewish holidays, Feast of the Tabernacles, or some of the other Jewish holidays. So I just loved it. It was so interesting reading all of your responses. I read all of them. And without further ado, let's do the drawing. As a quick reminder, the person who is selected wins a $30 gift certificate that will be emailed to you from 123 Stitch, and then you will also receive a little package, Day of Knowledge. It's the beginning of the school year. Oh, Anna, you were one of the ones who put that. Oh, cool. First day of school. That's so nice that you have a holiday to celebrate learning. I think we should do that in the States. First day of school, you have a holiday to celebrate knowledge and learning. That's awesome. But yes, the winner will also receive a small package from me sent to your home. So this is open internationally. The only requirements, of course, you all know what they are, but you do need to send me your email and your mailing address so I can send you both parts of your gift. So we're on the random number generator, and I'm putting in, the minimum is 1, the max is 256, because we had 256 entries, and we're going to hit generate. Oh, winner is number 239, almost at the end of the list. 239 is Christine, I'm going to try and pronounce this, Doiron. I don't know if you can read my chicken scratch. Christine, your last name is spelled D-O-I-R-O-N. Doiron or Doiron, or I think it must be French, Doiron. So Christine, if you are watching, Christine listed her favorite holiday as being Halloween. So Christine, if you are watching now or after the fact, please either message me through Facebook, Nell Cunningham, or you can send me an email to my email address, which is yellowhousecrafts@gmail.com. No spaces, no little. My YouTube name is Little Yellow House Crafts, but my email is just yellowhousecrafts@gmail.com. So Christine, send me your information. Congratulations on winning. Thank you for everyone who entered and for sharing some of your favorite holidays with me. That's all I have for you today, guys. Thanks for hanging with me as long as you did. Quick little note, it will probably be a month or so before you hear from me again. We are getting ready to move in 3 weeks. We're not leaving this town, we're just moving to a different house, a bigger house. And so we are going to be very, very busy with packing and moving in the next few days and weeks. So I will probably not be back to do an update video until after we move. So it'll be a different background than where I've been. I'm a little sad to leave this little yellow house. This house is what inspired my channel name and my business name. And I'm a little sad. I love this little yellow house, and it was the start of a lot of awesome things for us. But it is time to move into something bigger. We're just growing out of this little house, and anyway, it's very exciting. I'm excited to move, but I'm also it's bittersweet because this house is special to me. It's part of my cross-stitching journey. So anyway, is the new house yellow? It's not. It's like gray and blue. I know. And that just doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely as Little Yellow House Crafts. I'm not going to be changing my name. This house will forever be the house that inspired my channel name and my business name. But I won't live in a little yellow house anymore. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking and commenting and subscribing and all of those great things. I hope you're having a fabulous stitchy week. I hope that you are getting lots of good things done, and I will see you all very, very soon, okay? Thanks, guys. See ya. And finish. And end.